catastrophically wrong. And so this is why you need to talk to somebody you trust. You need to talk to a therapist. Because you can't trust your own feelings. The Bible says the heart is deceitful. You can deceive yourself.
Yes.
So it's like you have to ask questions.
This is No, but for real. Tell me how I feel. We on that fire. Tell me.
What up, everybody? I'm Dave.
I'm Jazzy.
And welcome to your favorite podcast, but faux freaking real.
Oh, real.
It's been a minute. Welcome back. Niggas was out getting money. I'm so
absolutely
sorry that I'm not sorry. But there are these things called bills that we have to pay for. And there is this thing called a studio that is not cheap. And there's things called equipment that is not cheap. And so, yeah.
It doesn't take away from our consistency.
It doesn't take away from the quality of the show that a lot of you are starting to find because our YouTube is growing. And we just thank y'all. But here's the thing. You can always help us out by subscribing to the Patreon. And I'm going to get more consistent with that because I haven't been. But if you want quality content, great shows like but for real, subscribe. I'll put it right here.
We talk about the real stuff.
Right here. $5 a month or however much you want to give, like 100. Yeah. I'm kidding.
Why not?
5, 10, whatever's good for you, give it. We appreciate it. Ooh, excuse me.
Right. No. Gotta let it marinate.
This is full of gas.
Oh my God. We was talking about booty holes last time.
We definitely, that video,
why was we talking
that
about
clip
booty?
did numbers too. A lot of y'all be thinking about booty holes a lot.
Because it's like one of those things that you forget. I think people forget to clean,
They probably do. Clean your butthole.
Clean it.
Okay. Especially if you like doing stuff with it. Clean your butthole. Okay.
Now, Dave.
All right.
No.
Some people is into that.
We are not getting into that.
Some people are into that. I am not.
Into what exactly?
You like playing with your booty hole. And you like when other people play with your booty hole. So, whatever. If that's what you into, no judgment. Just
play with it with some soap and water.
Just get checked.
Get checked.
So, yeah. Welcome to the show. We're glad you're here. Nels, how are you?
I'm good. I don't know. Life is lifing, but I'm here. I'm very happy to go through my struggles that I'm going through. Like I was just realizing that just driving around one day, that I'm just super grateful for this journey right now. Like I remember I said that back some episodes back where I was like, this is my pain season. You know what I mean? Like this is the season I asked for this. I feel like, through my experiences, through my decisions, I kind of asked for this, and at this point, it's just time to learn from them and really learn from them, and not try to like quickly come up with a solution to not be in your situation anymore, and kind of just sitting in it and being like, okay, this is the results right now. Let's look at the results, and I'm just so grateful that I can smile through that. Like, I don't care what's going on financially, whatever. I am like, this is what it came down to, and what are you gonna do now? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I think that's the most important part of a struggle. You know what I mean? Like we always focus on the struggle, but sometimes the struggle is supposed to teach you how to get to the next point of your life. And if you're just trying to completely delete the struggle all the time, how are you going to learn from it? So I'm really excited about how this struggle of mine that I've been going through is teaching me perspective. It's teaching me that it's needed. You know what I'm saying? It reminds me of a quote, or it was a post or a quote, whatever. It said that a lot of us pray to God to change our situation, but sometimes it's God putting us in a situation to change us. Okay?
That's it.
I'm like, that quote will forever be true. Like, because it's like, wow, like.
Because before he will ever change your external,
right,
he will always change your internal.
Internal has to happen first.
Because you will never appreciate or be able to maintain the external if you are not changed in here.
Right.
Which I'm going through the same thing. Like, life is good. Life is a lot right now. I'm a dad.
Yes.
Baby will be here in June. And
That's
really
like
happy.
tomorrow.
However,
That's tomorrow.
however, you know, is grind season. A lot of changes happening.
It really
a lot
is
to
grind
be
season.
a lot to be praying about and a lot to be focused about. And so
And that's another thing too, focusing on God through your struggle. Like,
right.
you know what I mean? Like you have the time now to kind of sit back and chill. And so now is the time to strengthen that relationship. And you know what I mean? Use that time to focus on God instead of just being so caught up in your situation.
Absolutely. So yeah, life is lifing. However, we're enjoying the process.
Yes.
So
got to.
yeah.
Otherwise, I'd be a
Our
wreck.
first segment is called Let's Get Personal.
Let's get personal.
What we getting personal about? I hope it is. I don't want to be too serious in this episode.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I don't care.
Shut up, Dave. You always got something to say right in the beginning. Like, I'm just let y'all know. Shut up. What motivates you the most in life?
My child.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
honestly, I'm not. What motivated me a lot, I'm not satisfied with where I am. So it's really a matter of I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I'm not there, and
So
that's
the end goal, the destination.
yeah. But honestly, it's not even about the destination. It's the journey that I love. It's the journey that's teaching me.
Yeah.
So what motivates me to get up in the morning is I know I'm not where I want to be right now. And I know there's so much that I want to do, I need to do, but it includes so much sacrifice.
Yeah.
I love all my friends. I love all my loved ones. But y'all not going to get me for a long time.
Yeah.
I was just talking to my wife. I said, we don't really talk about how people are willing to sacrifice right now for the betterment of your life long term.
Yeah.
So you got to do the hard thing right now, which means you got to sacrifice some stuff. You got to sacrifice some relationships. You got to sacrifice some time with people.
Yeah.
And I haven't been the best at that, I've realized. And honestly, I can get really hard on myself.
Yeah.
About like, just in my head and like, you know, I'm not there, man. Like, I feel like I should have been there by now. But then I'll talk myself out and the Lord will speak to me about, no, you're exactly where I want you to be.
Right.
However, you have to take responsibility to also get there.
Right.
And that's one thing I believe as believers, we don't talk about a lot is the responsibility of your relationship with God.
Right.
And where he wants to take you. Like he'll take you there.
Yeah.
But you have to make the decisions.
Right.
Like he's not going to make them for you.
Right.
So I think right now
Very
I'm in
dismissive approach.
Right. I think right now I'm in the season of responsibility. If I can give one word to where I am in life right now, it's responsibility and being focused and taking responsibility for not being where I want to be right now.
Right.
Because I feel like I wasted a lot of time and I don't want to waste time no more. So a lot of changes being made, a lot of sacrifices being made, a lot of people going to feel like I don't love them. It's not true. It's just that I love me too.
Right.
That's just what it is. I love you so much, but I love me.
Yeah.
And I want to see me thrive.
Right.
Because I feel like we can be there for so many other people, we forget about us.
Yeah.
And I've had to do the mental work of, I'm just in a place of responsibility.
Yes. So your, you know, I always have to respond.
You're right.
So your desire to fully tap into being responsible and accountable, that is essentially what is motivating you. It's not necessarily you don't know where you want to be, or you're not where you want to be, but it's more so, or maybe it is you're not where you want to be, but responsible is where you want to be. And I love that because it's not like, oh, I want to be a millionaire and that's why I'm not satisfied. It's more so like the internal things that's keeping me from everything that I want to achieve. And I think that's dope to have that, have internal goals. Like internal goals is always dope to me. Like that will probably be the biggest turn on, like on a first date. If I don't care where we go, the whole Cheesecake Factory thing, like we could go to a coffee shop. But if you're the type of person that's like, if I tell you what your one of your goals is, and you tell me something that is internal about you, like that is such a turn on. Like that is so dope to have people really caring about their character and caring about, you know, how their character is perceived and, you know, how they are into themselves to know that that's what's going to take them to the next level. So I think that's dope.
Yeah.
What motivates me the most? It's kind of very similar to you, I feel like. I'm trying to think of something different because I don't want to say the same things. I would say motivating. The first thing that came to mind, because I don't like to just overthink, in real time here, but the first thing that came to mind is just kind of like my vision for myself.
Yeah.
I remember I read this book by April Mason. If you know me, you know that's like one of my favorite people. The very first, like, I think it was like the introduction to her book. She was like, the very first thing that made me, that I did before I started changing, because she talks about how she changed from within, how she became one type of woman and she changed to a completely different type of woman. And the first thing she did to even get from A to B was visualize herself as that woman, as that woman she wants to be.
Right.
So I think that is what's motivating me the most. And it's still internal, right? It's not me saying, oh, when I have this type of job or when I have this type of thing, because none of those things matter, obviously, if you are not where you want to be internally. And I think that's what this podcast is about, right? It's about goals of internal behaviors, internal changes, internal growth. So yeah, I think for me, what motivates me the most is every day I see this woman. I see her being able to talk to men in a certain way, to be able to be emotionally intelligent enough to not overreact to something, to not, to be able to see my experiences and understand how it affects me, and completely change like the instinct behavior or the natural behavior that I was going to do. Like me becoming this woman that is, I always say, like, right now, I have told my mind, like, woman of influence over woman of entitlement. That is kind of the vision.
Great.
Yeah.
A woman of influence over being a woman of entitlement.
Yes.
Oh,
because I think I am like the most entitled woman in the world.
Well, I'm glad you said it. No, I'm playing.
I just think that, and you don't really think about it like that. You just think like, oh, I know what I want. Like I think a lot of entitled women, they say that, oh, I just know what I want. I just know what I want. But there's a different approach to that. You can know what you want, and you can be the type of person to just cut off whatever's not giving you what you want. But you can also be the type of person to be influential to get the things that you want. Right. And I just think it's a different approach to be like, I expect this and I'm entitled to this, instead of influencing these things, instead of influencing these things coming to you. This is kind of what we talked about with the Love and Energy episode way back, right? Where it's like, who are you, right? That's attracting what you're wanting, what you're desiring. So when I say woman of influence, that's what I mean. And I just feel like that's kind of what, I don't want to get into all that, but I just feel like that's kind of what a woman is supposed to be. I think we have lost this idea that we are persuasive. We have this influential power, like, especially over men. And it's very weird to me.
Y'all really do.
It's very weird to me.
Y'all really do. And a lot of y'all abuse it, but keep going.
That's a whole nother conversation.
I know it's pissed a lot of y'all off. I don't care. God bless you.
We abuse it, and that's the thing too. What's beautiful about the fact that we abuse it is the fact that there's women who abuse their influence, but that means that they actually have it. They use it. They just using it incorrectly. They're using it for the wrong things. Yeah, they use it for evil. But it's dope to have that, though. It's dope to be able to convince a man to do something for you. I think that's dope. Yeah, he's doing something for you. You're using him for his money or something, right? But just imagine you did that same thing to influence him to be a better husband or a better this or a better that, whatever it is that you wanted him to do. That's going to better him at the same time. Like, I just think about all of that stuff. Like, you want your man or whoever, right? Whoever around you and that you're in fellowship with that you want to be in fellowship with. I just feel like for us to understand that getting back to the point of influencing that person to be who you want them to be is so much more dope and powerful. And I just think it's more beneficial to both parties. It's like a win-win situation. I'm influencing you to be better instead of telling you you need to be better and being entitled to you being better and saying bye if you don't be better. That's a whole different perspective.
Yeah.
So what motivates me is changing this entitlement towards everything. You know, this, oh, I should have this. Well, what are you doing to influence that in your life?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. And I hope all of you, this would definitely be a clip. And I hope
shut up.
all of you women take heed because.
Yeah. Women of influence. That's like, I don't know. That's just something that comes across my mind all the time. I'm driving, whatever, just a random thought, woman of influence. It's always being wrapped in my head. I'm trying to wrap it in my head. I'm trying to drill it in my head to be that and approach every situation like that. I don't care if it's business, relationship. I think all of our relationship approaches as women, especially because we have that power, especially in relationship with men. And it don't even have to be the relationship part. It can be the platonic, you know, like I said, boss, employee, like influence your boss. That's a thing. You could do that.
It's such a thing.
You know what I'm saying?
I love that. All right. This next segment is called Let's Keep It Real.
Let's keep it real.
What are we getting real about?
So it's I feel like it's very related to what we were just talking about. So it's a great transition. I want to talk about intuition versus insecurities. Because I think a lot of us, I think especially women, but it may not be true, confuse the two. I think we confuse the two.
Intuition and insecurities.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
Just so y'all know, I never know what we're going to talk about. I just show up. So.
Right. I know. And I purposely don't talk about it prior to.
Right.
Because I want it to be organic. Like, this is what I want to talk about. What do you think about it? Just on the spot.
Yeah.
So what comes to mind when you think about intuition versus insecurity? Do you think that there's a confusion? Because I think there's a confusion in our culture.
Absolutely. I think, though, like intuition can only come from facts, right?
Yeah.
Like, and intuition comes from patterns. However, I think intuition can trigger an insecurity. So let me give an example, right?
Yeah, I need an example.
So let's say your man, he used to be very vulnerable with you. He used to tell you everything. All of a sudden, you ask him, you know, let's say you ask him, how was your day? He used to go into huge detail about your day, everything. You ask him again, let's say a few months later, he gives you one-word answers.
Yeah, that's actually happened to me.
He's not as detailed, right?
Yeah.
So something's telling you, like, something's off. But if you're not careful, and insecurity comes from trauma.
Yeah.
So because the intuition is telling you he's acting different, now you're triggered because this is something you witnessed when you was a child and you didn't properly deal with it.
Yeah.
So now the insecurity is coming up.
Yeah.
He don't love me for real no more.
Yeah.
You don't want to be with me. Something's wrong. And it couldn't have nothing to do with you.
Nothing. And that goes into entitlement. Don't you think that's kind of the same? Like, when you think about that,
you've now made it about you.
Yeah.
And it has absolutely nothing to do with you.
Nothing.
So I think you can confuse the two, but one can lead to the other.
Yeah. And I think that's why I think it's so important to talk about, because I mean, that one of the reasons I even wanted to talk about this, because I do it all the time. I confuse the two all the time. Yeah. And you got to think, me stepping into this podcast was me kind of like growing on camera, you know?
Right.
So just imagine what that's like, you know, when you're really putting in the effort to grow and learn yourself. Yeah. Of course, you're going to confuse the two.
Yeah.
So I just think it's a great topic, because if you're really out here, you know, tapping into your self-awareness, you are confusing the two more than likely.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was when I was doing my research about it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is me. So I have a definition of intuition. Intuition is supposedly, right, because this is just internet stuff, but the ability of understanding something immediately without conscious reasoning. And I like what you said when you said that it's based on facts. Because I think that's one of the differences. That's one of the biggest differences, is that intuition is more so like it's literally knowing something. So the fact in your example was this person is acting different. That's a fact. The insecurity came with not facts. Right. That was just kind of like, that's where kind of how you kind of differentiate the two. And I don't think we do that. I just feel like we look at the gut feelings as intuition, but our gut feelings could be an insecurity.
Yeah.
So I put here that it comes from our intelligence and experiences, which is really something to bring up as well, because your experiences could be, like, we think about experiences. I think the first thing that a lot of people may come to mind is like your past relationships, your past this and that. But your experience, it could be your day-to-day life, your social media, the TV shows that you watch. All of these things factor into your experiences.
Right.
So apparently the intuition comes from your prefrontal cortex, which I had to do some digging because I forgot what the functions. We had the test back in the day. I don't remember. Okay. Prefrontal cortex. It's a very complex subject to talk about the brain. It's a lot. So I just summed it up with it being your logical part of your brain. It's your logic. So I think it's important to note that your insecurities is your logical part of your brain functioning. It's the logical part, meaning it's based on facts. Where insecurities is an uncertainty or anxiety about oneself or lack of confidence.
Right.
What I found is that insecurities come from your amygdala. And if you remember, the amygdala is the fight or flight part of your brain.
Right.
And I thought that was very interesting because you got to think. Basically, your amygdala is, I'm in danger, I need to react. Your intuition is maybe really knowing that you're in danger, or I feel like your intuition is like avoiding danger. Like, oh, I know that this is not for me, so I'm going to go left instead of going right. Yeah. Where insecurities is like, I went left and now I'm like, oh, let me react. Let me react to this. Which I think is important to note, because it's like, to me, that's a very defined line with intuition and insecurities. And it was a time where I literally had an epiphany. I got off the phone with, I guess you could say I have a partner now, right? He gets off the phone with me, and immediately I thought, like, why he got off the phone with me like that? It was kind of like he had to hurry up and get off the phone, right? So those were the facts. He had to hurry up and get off the phone. He didn't really tell me why. I don't remember what he said. Obviously, after we got off the phone, immediately I thought whatever he said was a lie. Right. And I started thinking like, oh, did he go to a girl house or this and that? And then like after I started thinking of that being the idea, I started that being what I thought he did. Mm-hmm. As I was thinking that's what I thought he did, I thought about it like, but there's millions other things that he could have been doing that could have happened. So I just thought it was dope because I literally caught myself. And that was kind of like the first time I caught myself and I can explain it with science kind of thing. Because that honestly, like normally when I'm, before we get on here or whatever, I do like my research, but I was doing research just because of that thought. You know what I'm saying? Like soon as I start thinking like, dang, my brain instantly went there and it stayed there. It didn't think about all the other possibilities. It just stayed there. And I just thought that was interesting because that immediately made me realize that I was insecure. It made me realize, I mean, I already know that, but it really, myself showed me that. It was revealed 100%, only because that's where it stayed. That's where it had to be. It had to be that he was seeing someone else. It had to be that. And I think that's another way that you can differentiate the two, because it's like, if intuition is facts, the only facts you know is that you had to get off the phone. You don't know what else is happening on that other side of the phone.
And
you don't know.
And if you want to know, just ask. You know how simple that is?
But me and laugh.
I don't care.
So you got to tell. You got to be able to tell they lying.
But here's the thing: you don't know it's a lie until you know it's a lie.
Yeah.
And that's gonna go over a lot of y'all's heads because you're a little slow. But there's hope for you. Yeah. What I'm saying is, believe him. It's not. It's really not your business to be.
You're right.
Especially if y'all ain't married.
Right.
It's not. It's not your business. Like if y'all just dating.
Yeah.
You got to kind of take it for what it is until the truth is revealed to you.
Right.
And based off what's revealed, now you know how to move.
Right.
However, you kind of just got to take what he tell you until something else is like, no, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about that. Yeah. Because honestly, if y'all only been dating for like a month, whatever you're feeling is probably an insecurity of something that happened in your last relationship or happened to you previously. That has nothing to do with him.
But I just think that there are times, right, where you are right about things. You know what I mean? Like,
and exactly, because it's like, or you could just stop tripping because he's right and just leave it alone.
Right. Wait, what do you mean by because he's right? Because he's right about what?
He could be telling the truth, whatever he told you. But the thought of like, he could be lying doesn't come from what he's done. Y'all only been dating for a month. You don't know this nigga for real.
Right. Right.
So everything you're thinking is a product of you. Yeah. Not him.
And I just think it's a struggle though, right? Because I have here, so we talked about, you know, the difference between intuition and insecurity as far as it coming from a completely different side of your brain, the two thoughts, right? It comes from a different side of your brain. It comes from different functions of your brain. So the amygdala is your regulating emotion side. So I think that was a good thing to think about, because it was like, you can kind of tell if it's an insecure, and it sucks to say because it may not be true always, if that makes sense. Yeah. But you can kind of tell that it's an insecurity if it's emotionally driven. You know what I'm saying? Like so a lot of times they talk about, like I said, the flight or fight response. That's your amygdala. That's an example of your amygdala working. So they bring up fear as basically a very big example of your amygdala basically responding of a fear type of thing. So I just think that assessing how you look at something or what your conclusions are coming down to, if it's because you're afraid, it's probably an insecurity. Right. I don't know. That just hurts my soul a little bit, because
why?
When anybody that knows me, especially from way back when, high school, college, I have been an intuition like junkie. Like I always used to tell women, like, listen, if you know, don't fight that. But it's deeper than that, and I've realized that it's deeper than that because
Hey, don't fight it. Feel what you feel. Yeah. However,
it may not be true.
Be curious.
Understand that it's not.
And you all hear me say that a lot.
Yeah.
Be curious about what you feel. Yeah. Which means you have to ask questions. Yeah. Because if you really care and you really care about this dude, you're not going to go based off of just what you feel. Yeah. You got to go based off the facts.
Yeah, but just imagine. So all of the things I said about intuition versus insecurity, right? Yeah. Like the differences, right? When you really sit back and think about so say you are being intuitive. Yeah. And let's just say you are being insecure. Those feelings kind of feel the same surface wise. Mm-hmm. I feel like you have to actually really start digging to really know if it's an insecurity or if it's an intuitive thought.
Yeah, you got to be willing to see if you want to go deeper.
And I just think that that's just not like ABC 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean?
No.
it's kind of like hard because you don't want to be the person that never goes with your gut. Going with your gut is a good thing. But if your gut feeling is derived from emotional responses or from past experiences, which that's not something that you may know right then and there. So I think it's kind of a scary thing for me to kind of question my intuition. Well, I feel my intuition is. That's scary to me because it's like, what if it really is my intuition? Now I got to really question all my thoughts that come up when I'm dealing with someone and I'm in a relationship with someone. Now I got to be like, well, he could be doing this, but he also could be doing that. But I really feel like he's doing this though.
So what you're saying is you have to do the work.
Yes.
And most people,
like I said, I did that, and that's what made me want to talk about it. But it's just like, I guess what I fear is that I know there are times where I am intuitive. I just don't know if I'm at that point. I know I'm not at that point where I really know the difference. I can talk about the difference based on what I've read, what I've researched. But you have to think when you're in that moment, when it comes to intuition, right? We talked about the ability to understand something immediately, right? Just think about an insecurity. It's just as immediate.
Yeah.
And it feels the same, and it feels very conscious. It feels like you're very aware of the situation. You are very sure. Your insecurities, it still can look like intuition. It can still look like you're extremely confidently sure that this is what's happening.
Absolutely. Which is why you have to ask questions.
Yeah.
You have to.
Like, why do I think this is happening?
If you want to be a better person, if you want better relationships, you have to ask questions.
Yeah.
And not ask them to yourself, but don't rely on your own answer. Because I love us all. When it comes to our own, when it comes to our own intuition, our own feelings and everything, we're not that smart about them. So
we be telling ourselves like, girl, you right.
Right. And you think you're right when you are absolutely, completely, catastrophically wrong. And so this is why you need to talk to somebody you trust. You need to talk to a therapist. Because you can't trust your own feelings. The Bible says the heart is deceitful. You can deceive yourself.
Yes.
So it's like you have to ask questions.
Ask questions and not just ask yourself.
And honestly, I'm going to say this. If you are a woman dealing with a man, you need to go talk to a man to see if you tripping.
No, not a woman.
Love y'all dearly. I do.
It might be their insecurities telling you.
If you want to understand a man, go talk to another one. It could be your dad. It could be your uncle. It could be your brother. It could be your best friend or somebody who's a male that you trust. But women do not understand men, and we really don't understand y'all.
Yeah.
We speak two different languages. So go talk to someone who I honestly would prefer isn't biased to either one of you.
Right.
However, just get somebody you trust. Like, I do my best to look at it from both perspectives.
Yeah, me too.
Which is honestly
I try to stay objective.
Being raised by a single woman, by my sister, by my grandmother, it kind of made me look at the perspective of women at an earlier age than what most men get to.
Yeah.
And so, and as a man, I just know what it's like to be a man because I am one.
Yeah.
And so, and I've had men that are mentors. I also had my dad, but I had a lot of mentors. So I've had that luxury and that benefit. Most men don't, though.
Yeah.
And so if you just be curious, ask questions. Don't just go based off what you feel, because women love you dearly. Y'all love to go.
But then
y'all are emotion first and mind second.
But the thing is, like I said, and I'm probably going to beat this like a dead horse, but it doesn't feel like an insecurity at the time. You know what I'm saying?
And it won't. But you
so
will
it's like,
never,
how do you know what's a question versus what's a not? Are you questioning everything?
No. Just ask all the questions. Because you're asking questions, you don't have answers. And y'all think questions is answers.
Right.
They're not.
They're just questions.
They're just questions. And that's okay. But don't just sit there and be like, well, I just got this question. Is this going to be a question? Go seek an answer.
Yeah.
If you care that much.
Yeah.
But most of y'all say y'all care, but y'all don't, because y'all only do the first step.
Yeah. So I was researching like examples of intuitive thinking, and a lot of it is just like day-to-day stuff. Like, you're driving, turn left or right. Like, oh, I'm going to turn right. Like, some tell me I just need to turn right. Or you walking into a dark room and it's like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and walk back out of here. I don't know what's going on.
All right.
Like, and it just made me question, is there a such thing as intuition when it comes to relationships?
Absolutely.
Like, can you really be intuitive with a person when you really don't know what you're never going to know?
Absolutely. You know why? Intuition, it comes from really knowing yourself. How you really know if it's an insecurity or if it's intuition. But also you got to remember, intuition comes from facts and comes from patterns.
Yeah.
So I know if I say a certain thing this way to my wife, my intuition says she gonna take this a different way. So I got to find a different approach.
Yeah.
However, an insecurity is if I say something and my intuition is like, okay, I said this the right way, but her response still triggers something in me that was like, okay, do you even like me for real?
Yeah.
So you have to really be in tune with yourself to know the difference.
So I guess my question is, okay, I've been cheated on before. That's not really true. I mean, I have been cheated on before once that I know about. So I really haven't experienced that. Oh, he cheated on me. It's devastating. Like, I've experienced that one time. I've never that's never been like a big thing with me. But let's just say it has, right? And I dated a guy, or I was in a relationship with a guy for several years, and I caught him cheating a few times. Whatever actions that was taking place prior to him cheating or while he was cheating, let's just say we break up and the next person is doing those exact same things. Mm-hmm. It's very possible that he's not cheating, though.
Right.
So my thing is, how can we really be intuitive in relationships when behaviors don't really, because that's like my example, right? He got the phone with me real quick. He could have been doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing. He could have been doing something that he just, whatever, he just needed to get off the phone, whatever. Maybe based on my experiences, people who just get off the phone like that is, surprised by somebody, whatever. I don't know. I guess what I'm struggling with is how can it ever be a real intuitive thought? How can it ever be the understanding of something immediately without conscious reasoning? If it's still a likelihood of being untrue. Does that make sense? That question?
Yeah. I mean, but it goes back to what I said. It's, well, how do I know if this thing is like, you asked, how do I know if this thing is true or untrue? What I don't understand is, and honestly, that's not true. I do understand. You have to be sure you are in a safe space, number one, that you feel safe enough to ask these questions. So if you say he got off the phone with you real quick, right? Mm-hmm. Then you should ask him, hey, what was that about?
And I didn't.
Right. Clearly.
Shut up. It's not clear. How is that clear?
But the thing about it is, ask the question and see and listen to his response.
Collect data.
You have, and that's what.
Sometimes intuition may
honestly,
not be immediate.
But the thing is, and that's exactly right. Intuition is a quick feeling based off of things just based off of patterns.
Yeah.
But if you just met this guy and that's the first time it's happened, your intuition isn't based on who he is. Your intuition is based on what you've been through, which is really an insecurity. That's how you confuse the two. But there's a next step that most people don't take. Go ask the freaking question. Hey, like, I just want you to know that triggered me a little bit because of things I've been through. But nobody's humble enough to do that because we're all dumb.
Yep.
And so...
I'm dumb. Listen, I am the mastermind of hiding my insecurities, honey. You would never know.
Hiding insecurities and making assumptions based off of them.
Yeah.
So you assume, oh, he's a cheater.
Yeah.
Because he got off the phone with me like this, and it's happened to me before. So you rather assume than just get the truth. Well, how do I know if it's the truth? That's another insecurity.
Yeah.
Not saying you shouldn't ask the question. But it's like, accept it for what it is. Yeah. Until something gives you a reason not to. Yeah. Because we speak about peace, but we really don't want it. We don't. Because peace means I can't ask questions no more. Because I can't question nothing. I'm at peace. Because it's like I got to take it for what it is until I have a reason not to believe you anymore. Yeah. I was researching just developing your intuition. And I think that something stuck out to me. It was a bunch of different things. But what stuck out to me the most was trust. Absolutely. Basically, trust is the cure for insecurity. But trust who? That's the question. I know. Trust who? Trust yourself. Exactly. But you can't trust yourself if you're questioning. No. You have to trust yourself. You see how this is very complicated? No, it's really black and white to me. It's not. It is to me. You can't say that. I can't say that I trust myself. But every single thought that comes to mind now, I have to now question because I don't know if I'm being intuitive. But asking questions doesn't mean you don't trust yourself. It just means you don't trust the answers you're getting. But the thing is, you're not getting answers because you haven't asked the questions. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to not get an answer right now. But the problem comes in when you feel like you deserve an answer right now, or you're too afraid to ask the question because you're afraid of the answer. So it's not really. What if he was with another girl? If he was, then he. But that's the thing. It's like, oh, okay, you was with another girl, like, cool, like, yeah. And if he was. You now know. Yeah. Now the responsibility comes in. What are you going to do? Right. Are you going to be dumb enough to stay? Yeah. Or are you going to be like, let me move on. Let me just make sure I'm good. Yeah. But at least you have an answer. You ask questions. And he could be lying. Or he could be telling the truth. But a lot of us go off could be. Could be is not a fact. It's not. And a lot of y'all. And that was the aha moment when I was thinking about that. And to be clear about my situation, that wasn't the first time. It happens all the time. And it's not just that, but it's just little things. But see, that's the thing. It's just you went things. Off of patterns. Yeah. Not the first time. Not even the second time, maybe. But over time, you was like, I keep seeing this. Yeah. My intuition is saying this. Yeah. So I'm curious. But are you going to ask the questions? Yeah. What's the point of being curious if you're not going to ask questions? I just don't feel like I'm going to get because here's the answer that is true. Here's the thing. I dated this girl. Uh-huh. And you know how people, they say, oh, I got a lot of male or female friends and stuff like that. And I was just like, cool, that don't bother me. I don't care. Right. But if you committed in this, I'm paying attention to who you spend the most time talking to. Yeah. Or who you spend the most time with, who is a different who was a male, a man.
Right.
And there was this one guy. And I also pay attention to the time of when y'all talk. He would call her at like all times at night. And I was like, okay, cool. I ain't gonna say nothing right now. Just leave it alone.
Right.
And then I remember, and I promise you, I wasn't looking for nothing. It just popped up. And that's what y'all got to realize. You don't have to be detective. The truth will come when it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And you will be like, I knew it. But a lot of y'all go crazy trying to figure out what's what. And you really don't have to. The truth will come to light.
Yeah.
And so I was patient enough to just wait. And I was laying. And I'm gonna give a secret away. I'm good at faking sleep. Like, I'm good at pretending. You think I'm asleep, but I hear and see everything.
Oh my God.
Right? And so
wow.
And so I'm laying in her lap, and you know how you can text from a laptop. She think I'm asleep, but I'm looking at the messages. And so I see the messages. He said some things about some things that they did. And I gracefully, because this is not the first time I've talked to her about him. I said, who is he?
Right.
Oh, he's just a really good friend. I said, oh, okay.
Right.
Cool. I just want you to know, I don't trust it. But
Okay.
I haven't seen anything.
So what made you not trust it?
Patterns. My intuition was like, there's something more here. Because the way you talk to him isn't the same way you talk to your other male friends.
Oh, okay.
So I was just like, cool. Hey, I love you dearly. I'm committed to this. I just want you to know, this man right here makes me feel like y'all have something more, or he's interested in you more than just a friend.
Yeah.
And so he texted her. They was talking, found out they did some things. Oh. So I gracefully sat up and I looked at her. I said, so tell me everything. She's, what are you talking? No, we're not playing that game.
I already know.
What happened?
Yeah.
And so everything came out. I said, thank you so much. It's been a great time with you.
Oh, my.
But I'm no longer doing this. I'm not playing this game with you. And I said it just like that. I didn't raise my voice.
Yeah.
Didn't do nothing, which is probably what she would have preferred.
Right. Of course.
But you got caught.
Yeah.
So there's nothing you can really do.
Yeah.
To be like, oh my God, no, it's not you. I would never. But you did.
Yeah, but you did.
I saw it. And so the thing about it is you have to trust your gut. But like I said, when you like something is off, ask the question. Hey.
Yeah.
And tell them how you feel, how it makes you feel.
Yeah.
Hey, this makes me feel this way. And they get up and down and be like, no, it ain't nothing like that. And you got to go with it until it shows up.
Yeah.
What the truth really is.
Yeah. I guess my only struggle with that is it could have very well not have been true.
Could have very well not have been.
So what
But
then?
Also,
how does that look?
Don't know what's the truth until you know what's the truth.
Yeah.
You don't know what's a lie until you know what the truth is.
Yeah.
So you got to go with you. If you see patterns are different, talk, ask questions. You got to go with the answer. Well, my gut is telling me this.
And that's
cool.
what I was
and
talking
trust
about.
that until you get an answer. Until you get an answer.
Hey,
But
that's tough though.
It's really hard. But you got to make sure
But what is trust without that though?
But my
that's
thing
what
is
trust
this.
Really is.
You have to make sure you're okay.
Yeah.
I'm not losing my peace over nobody.
Yeah.
If you want to go wild out, do your thing.
Yeah.
Hey, until I know what it is, Cool. You say y'all just cool? Okay.
So what makes trust, I wouldn't say easy for you, because I don't want to say that it's easy for you, but it seems to be in a more like regulated state than like what I'm used to when you talk about trust, because it makes sense what you're saying. Like, yeah, just accept the truth, but it's not that simple, I guess. You know what I mean?
And honestly, the reason it may seem simple for me is because it's how I want people to treat me.
Okay. Right, because I'm like, I don't never lie. So I don't want anybody questioning me.
Which is also a lie.
Yeah. Yeah. But like in relationships, like me, I don't feel, I'm very open and honest. Like the guy I'm talking to right now he was like, that was like the biggest turn on for me, like for you, is that you're very open. You're very open. Like I would tell you anything and everything.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I still feel like I can, and I don't even know if this is a bad thing or a good thing, but I can pretend I trust you.
Yeah,
but I don't know if I'm.
It's definitely a bad thing.
I don't know if I'm really trusting you, because in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay.
But that comes from somewhere.
Yeah.
It ain't him. Because especially.
But it could be, and that's where I struggle.
But that's the thing. You're going based off of unknown territory.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Do you feel like you could be with a person that constantly show you signs, but there's no, and you may show you signs of whatever, I don't care what it is, something that you wouldn't approve of if you knew if it was true, right? But you don't know it's true. All you see is that it could be true.
So why do I approve it if I know if it's not true?
What I'm saying is, could you be with someone that shows you patterns of something that how do I explain this? Okay, so my situation, like I said, that wasn't the first time. That wasn't the second time. That was the third time that happens. I wouldn't say it happens all the time. I'm like, if I really was to collect data of all the phone calls we had, it's probably like 10% of the time, right?
Yeah.
But, we highlight, women like me who understand that my insecurities is just like jumping out especially in the relationship world. I guess if it never reveals itself, you know what I mean? Like if and I guess you can't say never, because it could reveal itself 10 years later. But it's like, bro, I had these thoughts, because you'll see that happen, right? Like people get divorced and it's like, but bro, like within 2 years in, like I kind of knew this was going on.
Yeah.
But it never really revealed itself until 10 years later. So imagine that thought process to a person who, that's just tough, man. Like, I don't know how to explain it. And I guess what I'm explaining that's tough is what I'm realizing now in real time. It's trust.
It's absolutely hard.
Trusting people is hard as hell.
Trusting people is so hard.
There was a TikTok about trust, and he was like, bro, I don't know about y'all, but when I sit back and really think about what trust is, it's just not right. Like, it's basically like you never knowing what a person is doing behind your back. You're never going to know. And he just kept emphasizing that. Like, you never going to know. You just have to trust. That's just deep to me.
But it tells me you don't really trust yourself.
So what's the connection between not trusting someone and trusting yourself?
Because if I trust myself, I'm in a place of, okay, I am a safe space. Doesn't mean you are. Yeah. However, I'm safe enough within myself to ask those questions.
Ask what questions?
So like, patterns, right? Let's say patterns change.
Yeah.
Hey, I see this is happening. What is this?
But okay, and they tell you something and it makes so much sense.
Yes.
But it's still possible that they're lying to you.
Okay.
And it never reveals itself until 10 years down the line.
But here's the thing though. You don't know.
I know.
So are you going to stress yourself out about something you don't know?
So that's what trust is.
Because my question then is this.
Not stressing yourself out about
because my question is this. You don't know what's going to happen when you wake up throughout the day. Yeah. Does that stop you from getting out of bed? Does it stop you from taking care of your daughter? Does it stop you from handling your responsibilities as a mother, as a friend?
Yeah.
So why about relationships?
I guess because
of insecurities.
Yeah.
So
I guess it could be intuitive too, though.
But my thing is this: the intuition has triggered the insecurity. So it goes back to: are you safe enough within yourself?
Yeah.
To ask those questions, and don't just go off the answer. How does he answer those questions?
Yeah.
Does he easily get frustrated?
And that just made me go to my next question. So do you feel like it's the partner's responsibility to kind of change their behaviors, even if, like, say they're innocent, like they're
absolutely,
not
it's their
anything.
responsibility.
You think so? Okay.
But you need to know that it's not yours.
What do you mean by that?
It's my responsibility to change my behavior. Mm-hmm. It's not up to you to fix me. It's not up to you to be detective. It's not up to you to figure me out.
Yeah.
You will only figure out what I let you in on.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why you do this, and you're not going to understand until I share it with you. And you have to be okay with that.
Tough.
I know it's tough.
Yeah.
But what you going to do?
Yeah.
You going to sit there and let it bother you? Or are you just going to be like, one day it'll be revealed?
10 years later?
Don't matter. You're not the author of time. And you can't control anybody.
So you're saying that you have peace with that, basically. You have peace with the idea that you may never find out what the patterns are about.
I don't want to find out until it's time. And that's the thing. I don't go around trying to figure out, like, is today the day? Oh my God. It might be. No, I'm going to go do what I need to do for me, because I want to be happy with me. Yeah. And if you over there tripping, that's a you thing.
And it just makes me think, like, am I 100%, not 100%, but am I operating in my amygdala, right? Part of the brain where I'm continuously processing emotions, and not in the logical part of the brain where it's like, you're more logical, like, yeah, I have to trust because what else you gonna do? I mean, that's a logical thing to say. But it's very hard.
But let's be real. Men are more logical than women. Y'all go based off how y'all feel. Yeah. We don't. Yeah. Most of the time.
Which is why I thought this topic was so dope, because it's like, yeah, we're more emotional, but there's also this whole idea of women's intuition, you know? And so it's like we're taught to believe in our gut feelings.
And you absolutely should.
But now we got to go back and make sure our gut feelings are even correct. And it's just like, bro, can we just live?
Yeah. Do the work. Do the work.
I feel like my gut is telling me
and
you was with somebody last night.
Right. And if he says no, what can you do?
Put a camera in his room.
I don't think there's anything that says I'm insecure more than that.
But I'm going to find out. And I ain't going to need intuition. But it's so dope to kind of, and I think it's dope too, to kind of like, I think the whole point is differentiating the two is not highlighting insecurity. It's highlighting your intuition. It's highlighting the idea that you can be intuitive effectively. And it doesn't trigger insecurity. But I guess you just have to stop being afraid. It's like, can you be afraid and trusting? Like, can you be, and that's another thing too. Like, I remember, I think Tyler Perry said that, like, in a Medea play or whatever. He was just like, listen, if a man is on your, I forget what he said, on you about, like, where you going, where you going to be at, who you going to be with, that means he cheating on you. So it's like, if you're untrustworthy, maybe it's because you are the type of person that isn't trustworthy. Like, you are the one that don't trust people. That's why
I said
you're the one that people shouldn't trust.
That's why
you don't trust people.
It says more about you than the other person.
But you can really still feel like I'm not going, like, one thing about, I tell men now all the time, I say, listen, first date, one thing about me and it's not going to be the issue. Other men, it's not going to be the issue. I am not that woman. It's going to be some issues, but other men, it's not going to be that.
Yeah.
So I have that confidence that it's like, I'm not a cheater, not a disloyal person. But at the same time, I feel like every man is cheating on me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but it's because you've been cheated on before.
It was so long ago, though. Like, how can
does
that
not
still
matter.
affect you? That's wild.
It does not matter.
That's wild.
And it can still affect, but it's from a place of fear.
Could it also be like, because we were talking about experiences playing a big role, because it plays a big role in both. And that's why it's so, I'm sorry, I'm just going to keep saying it. That's why this is so crazy to me, this topic, because it's the same exact feeling, but it's two completely different things. You know what I'm saying? Like, my experiences play a role in my insecurities the same way my experience play a role in my intuition. So just imagine in the moment, like, trying to differentiate the two. But I was talking about, like, okay, so let's just say I'm over that situation where I got cheated on, right? But I'm on social media every day, and that's all that I see is a man cheating on his wife, or somebody getting divorced because they cheated, or all men cheat. How many times did we hear that as women? All men cheat. All men cheat. You leave a man for cheating on you, guess what? You gonna go to a next man, and he just gonna cheat on you too.
Here's my question,
and it's just like, are we programmed to have insecurities as well about somebody cheating? You know what I mean?
Sorry. I don't think you are programmed to be insecure. I think you are experiences causes your insecurity. Insecurities
you don't think you can be insecure from...
It doesn't come from the rest of the world unless you allow it to be, which it goes back to you. So we live in a time of influence.
Yeah.
And the thing is, are you easily influenced by what you see?
I think we all are, though, in a way.
To an extent. But when it comes to something where you say, I want to be married, I want this, I want that, I want a healthy marriage, I want healthy relationships. So
why are you watching Love and Hip Hop?
So, right. So why are you so easily influenced by all the things that you see
that are against it?
Right. Because if all you watch is these toxic shows and you are easily influenced, then that's all you're going to feel. However, there are plenty of marriages that are healthy, people who are working on their marriages, people who want to be married, but you're focused on what you think the majority is.
Yeah.
And what you go off what you see.
And I think that's my point, right? I think that when we're talking about our experiences, I don't want it to be just this idea of my past relationships, the patterns of the man in my past relationships. I think your daily experiences play a big role too. Because yes, because you'll see that with people all the time. Like, oh, I watch this, but that don't mean that it influences me. But when you really break down science, right? Science will tell you your subconscious is always recording. So if you are spending a lot of time, and we talked about this, I think this was a clip in one of the episodes before. If you're spending a lot of time watching this and watching that and listening to this and listening to that, you are creating ideas in your brain about that topic.
Right.
And say you're never listening to, like, you want to be a married man or a married woman or whatever, and you only listen to podcasts with single people. It's like, are you really, are your experiences creating this idea that marriage is not really possible?
Absolutely.
And I think that's what my point is. You know what I mean?
Especially if it's something you don't see often.
Yeah. And I think that's my point. When we talk about how experiences create both, right? So if you're trying to build your intuition, and you're trying to diminish your insecurities, your day-to-day experiences, I feel like, are more important than all your past stuff.
But the thing is this.
Because even if you're not easily influenced, you may think that consciously, but there's a subconscious part of your brain. Yeah. And that subconscious part of your brain don't forget nothing.
The thing about it is, though, you have to be willing to know the truth you want to live.
Yeah.
because I can sit here all day and watch trash reality TV, which I love. However, I know for David, for me, I want a healthy marriage. I want to raise a family. I want, and no matter what I see, I know what I want. And that's the thing. I think.
But I don't know though. And just before
you don't know what?
Because listen, how often do you watch trash reality TV? Exactly.
Barely.
Because I think you may not realize that you are very intentional about your behaviors. And it's a result of your how you thinking.
Right. However, I'm not ignorant to the fact that I don't see a lot of healthy marriages.
Okay.
I don't come from
That's
one.
Fair. Yeah.
But it's because I don't come from it. I don't use that as an excuse to not want what I want.
Yeah.
Actually, I want the opposite of everything I've seen.
Yeah.
So, because I want to change the trajectory of my family. And that's why I always say it goes back to you.
Yeah.
Not what's happening out there.
Yeah.
What do you want for you? What do you want for your life? And are you intentional about those things?
Yeah.
If you know about yourself and you're very aware of yourself, that you know you are easily influenced by a lot of things that don't align with the things that you want in life. Yeah. Stop looking at it.
Right.
If social media uses you more than you use social media, then you don't need to be on it.
Yeah. Yeah. What's that? Isn't that like a scripture? Like, listen, if your hand is telling you to sin every day, all day, cut it off type of thing. It's just a way of thinking about how important it is to prevent things or to be intentional about the things that you experience, that you allow yourself to experience. And I guess, again, that was my point of talking about experiences, because your experiences is kind of how it's the data that we're collecting to come to our intuitive conclusions or to come to our insecure conclusions. And it takes a lot for you to really realize how much of your everyday is feeding one of the other. You know what I'm saying? If you find yourself being more insecure than not, it may not just be about your past traumas. It could be derived from your past traumas, but maybe your past traumas is also, influencing you, what you watch. It's influencing who you talk to. It's influencing who you entertain. And those daily things is what's really, I feel like those daily things is more important, I guess, in my mind. Yeah. Because your past is your past. You can't change that. But if you're allowing it to influence your daily life, it's only going to get worse and worse and worse. So I guess my point is, it all boils down to, I feel like, what we allow our experience to be. And I think that I don't know if we care that much about that. You know what I mean? We talk about insecurities and we immediately talk about the past, but what about your present? Your present could be feeding your insecurities too. Right. And that's something I think that's something to think about. And I think that's way more important than your past doing it, because you have control over your present. I mean, not maybe all the way, but you have control over the things that is keeping you insecure. Right. So I don't know. I just think that it's just something to think about. And it's just something that I'm thinking about in real time. Like, okay, me thinking a man's cheating all the time, I personally, and I could be 100% wrong, in self-awareness mode, still haven't got there yet.
Do you have somebody you can talk to?
Yes. I just said that. I literally just said that. That's the whole, like.
So, okay. Go
ahead. Goodness, what was I saying, Dave? Goodness.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I forgot that quick. We're talking about experiences. I totally forgot.
I'm sorry.
You're fine. I said I was in self-awareness mode. I remember saying that.
But honestly, I think it's good that you are, though. Yeah. Because you're doing the work and you're asking the questions. Yeah. Maybe not to him, but to you.
Because I'm trying to hide it. Because I feel like it's not. But that's I don't feel like that's right to be insecure out loud. Like you need to deal with that within yourself.
I think the beauty of life and the beauty of being a human is not portraying that you have it all together. Because if you show your most vulnerable parts and he walks away, it says more about him than you.
That's what I did to my ex.
And the thing is, we usually try to hide our most vulnerable selves because we're afraid of what the backlash will be or what the response will be because of things we've been through before when we've been vulnerable with people. Yeah. But my thing is, it never says anything about you when you are vulnerable.
I know what I was about to say.
Go.
So what I was saying is, and like I said, I'm in self-awareness mode. I'm not 100%. I'm still questioning, like, what the heck? I don't know if I'm right or wrong about whatever. But I genuinely don't think, as of today, I do not think that my immediate response to different behaviors or sneaky behaviors, immediately thinking that it's cheating, I don't think that it's solely from the fact that I was cheated on 10 years ago. Like, this was when my daughter was 1 year old. She's 12.
What is it?
I think it's my daily experiences. I think it's what I allow myself to watch. I think it's what I allow myself to see. You know, I love, watching a podcast, watching clips, but I have to be mindful that if I'm watching podcasts with single people all the time.
I was just about to ask you that. So do you watch podcasts about marriage?
No.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And I guess that's what I was trying to get you to understand. Is
I got it now.
Yeah, that you were saying, like, you can watch whatever you want as long as you're not easily influenced. I don't know if I necessarily believe that all the way, because you can because you can always go back to yourself and know what you want. But I think that I have to assess the fact that this is happening now. That happened back then, and it can 100% still be affecting me. I'm not saying that it's not, but I really genuinely think it's because of what I see all the time. Like, this is what I'm seeing. I don't see faithful men. You know what I mean? Like that. You know what I'm saying? I see the cheaters. I see people talking about the cheaters. Those are what's being highlighted.
And the thing is, you only see what you're willing to look at.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. And it's like you said, if all you choose to look at is single people doing single things and unfaithful people, then that's all.
I feel like you're kind of programming your mind to believe that that's what the world is.
And you have to unlearn that.
Yeah.
Like, you have to believe, no, there's married people out here too.
Right.
Who've been doing well.
Like, they talk about Morris Chestnut and his wife. Like, they're like, oh my God, he's never cheated. Oh yes, he's never cheated. Why is there such a uproar?
But you also don't know that.
Right, you don't know that.
But they're still married. And if one of them was unfaithful, they found ways to work through it. But it's like, you can't just go off of what you're willing to look at.
Yeah.
Is there people who ain't married? Yeah. Is there people who are married? Absolutely. Been married for 40 plus years.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, you can't just go based off of one thing.
Yeah.
And I think for me personally, which is why I say, like, I know what I want.
Yeah.
And I can look at those things and not be influenced, because that's not the only thing I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Like, I listen to Mayor's podcast. I watch Kev on Stage and his wife, Melissa, and a lot of people and they have marriage podcasts, and which are really good. Y'all should check those out.
I know. I need to watch it. You keep saying that.
It's really
good. I want to watch the single folks.
And they have two different ones. One is
she has her own, right?
Well, they both do it together. She does have her own with her sister.
Okay.
And her sister's married too.
Okay, period.
But the first podcast is called The Love Hour. Uh-huh. The second one is called Marriage Be Hard, because it do be.
And they came out with that book.
And they came out with that book, which was his bestseller. Shouts out to them. Period. Congratulations. And it's great. And there's another one called Is This Going to Cause an Argument? Where Angel and her husband Marcus, who are absolutely hilarious, they're married.
I love that. A person that's funny and do a podcast about serious topics is dope.
Their podcast is amazing. They do another podcast with Kev on Stage and Mrs. Kev on Stage called The Bald and the Beautiful, and it's just married people talking about life,
a whole nother world.
And not even just talking about the beautiful parts of it.
Right.
There's the hard things too. So you got to be intentional about what you're willing to look at.
Right.
Because you only see what you're willing to look at.
Yeah.
And so if I can't just pay attention to one thing and ignore the other, it's a balance to this thing. And that's the only way you'll be able to really be like, I see that, but I'm not affected by it. Because I know that there's this too. And this is what I want.
Yeah.
So.
And I think for me, I just got a realization just now. I think why I'm so attracted to the Single People podcast is because it's my comfortability.
Yeah.
I don't feel conviction when I'm listening to single people talk about their pet peeves with men. That's like, oh yeah. Even though I'm working on myself and I realize like some things I'm like, girl, you've been entitled, right? But even in that, like me picking out women that are entitled versus not entitled, that's still a comfort, I think. I think listening to people who are in marriages who have done it, I think that will convict me a lot. Like I think I'll see my issues very easier, like way more easier when I'm listening to someone has been very successful influencing their man to stay married to them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whereas me can't even keep a man. Do I really want to, what is going to attract me to listening to those things? So I think that's kind of where I'm at with that, is realizing that I think we all do. We like comfort. We like comfortability. We don't like conviction like that. So yeah, that's something for me to note for myself. Got two more things. Is overthinking an insecurity. Listen, I'm on the fence.
Ain't no fence.
I'm on the fence.
That is a fence that you built because you overthink. What? That is absolutely.
So you know that people be posting.
It's absolutely an insecurity.
People be posting though, like y'all be mad about the overthinkers, but because we be right the whole time, and I be genuinely feeling like that.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I genuinely feel like
I really don't even know what else to say. Then it's an insecurity. I feel like
when I overthink, I get the right answer.
But you don't. That's the funny part.
I think I do though, but maybe I don't. I don't know.
Overthinkers only focus on what could be, like we talked about.
Yeah, no facts.
Because if you're doing this, that means you're doing this. And if you're doing this, that means you're doing this. And if you're doing this, then that means you're doing. Or you could be completely
out of your mind.
Wrong.
Someone said that overthinking is unproductive thoughts, basically. Thoughts
Absolutely.
that do not produce.
But you just making at this point, you just making stuff up.
Yeah.
Like
you made up a whole
scenario that ain't got nothing to do with nothing.
And you really genuinely be feeling like it's true.
And it's not. It's truly not.
One last thing that I wanted to ask, but I forgot.
Well,
I didn't write it down.
That's unfortunate.
I know. Oh, wait. Okay. One last thing, and it's kind of off topic, but it's on insecurities. How do you feel about appearances? Can you think you can tell if a person's insecure by their appearances?
Say more.
My daughter's dad, we had a conversation. Me and my daughter's dad will have conversations like me and you all the time.
Yeah.
Right? And that's how he feels. He feels like if a woman wears weave, lashes, she's very flashy with the way she dressed, fake nails, all of that, just super flamboyantly out there appearance-wise. Like not everything that is opposite of your natural self, how you wake up in the morning. He feels that's an insecurity.
No.
You don't think so?
Because, it could be. I don't think that's always the truth.
That's what I said.
There are some people who just do it because they enjoy it.
And that's exactly what I said.
Some people do it because, you butt ugly. So, you got to do it.
But you don't think that's an insecurity if they think they're ugly?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But to say all women or women do this because they're insecure, nah. You can't generalize all women, especially when it comes to beauty. There are some women who genuinely enjoy the art of it.
That's exactly what I said.
So you can't just be like, well, the majority, we don't know the majority of women. God bless you.
Yeah.
But it's like, I can't place all women in this.
And that's exactly what I said. That's so funny.
Because it goes
exactly
based on what we just talked about. Like, if this is all I see, then yeah, that's the truth. But there's this whole other thing that I'm choosing to ignore.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I know I have friends in the beauty industry. I know women who feel confident about themselves when it comes to their looks.
Yeah.
And they just like to have fun with it. Like, it's nothing deeper than that.
I gave him perspective of, I don't think me wearing makeup or a weave or lashes or nails is any different than me buying a really nice jacket or shoes. I feel like it's the same thing. I want to look a certain way. And that's why I bought this particular clothing.
I mean, you could say that about a man in a car. You bought that car because of how it makes you look.
Right. Like, you could have just bought a regular old car that gets you from A to B. Like, we don't have to get these car notes and get these BMWs and stuff like that.
But you bought that car because you like how you look at it.
Yeah.
Now, is that all men?
Yeah.
Probably not.
So how do you think you differentiate, and this is my last thing, I'm sorry. How do you think we differentiate the two? You know what I mean? Because it could be, right? It could be that they are insecure. They don't like their self. They don't like their real hair. They don't like their face. They don't like who they are without any money. You know what I mean? Like, money and being able to buy a Louis bag makes them feel secure.
Well,
how do we know the difference?
Well, you can only know that about yourself until... Number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, if you are in community or relationship with this person that you care about, the only way you're going to know is based off patterns and asking questions. Like, and getting to know that person. Yeah. But you...
Seeing what they sacrifice to have these things.
Yeah, like you go based off of how... you go based off of how they move. Yeah. And it's just like, that's the only way you're going to know. Yeah. But... it depends on the person.
Yeah. It's interesting because I don't want to dismiss his perspective because I think...
Well, it's not this. It's not this.
No, I'm not saying that you are. I wasn't saying that you were either, but I was just saying, like, I thought it was something. That's why I brought it up, because I thought it was something to think about. You know what I mean? Like, okay, wait.
It goes to...
It made me think, like, am I insecure? Do I like my real hair? Hold up. Like, I do.
Well, it goes to... and also, like... if you don't feel like, some women don't feel like putting up with their real hair, so they put a wig on and go about their day.
And it helps it grow. Like, you seen what Cardi B did.
And
Cardi
also,
B hair is down her back because she wear wigs.
And this is me. When it comes to women, men, sometimes we just need to shut the hell up. It's none of my business really why you choose to do what you do. Yeah. Which is why you would rarely hear me go here. You know how people debate on, well, men this and women that. Yeah. You rarely hear me talk about that. Yeah. Because as a man, what a woman does is none of my business. I don't know what it's like to be a woman. Yeah. And I never will. Right. So it's like, I can't be like, well, women do this because, no, I'm a man. So I know what a man does. Yeah. I know what it's like to be a man because I am one. So it's like.
But there was a time where
generalizations only work on a specific amount of people of that you choose to focus on. Yeah. So it's like, I mean, it's like Cat Williams said. You can't say all men are bad. Yeah. Or all men are this. When it could just be that you're the bad person. If everything you say about men is true, there's only one common denominator. Yeah. Oh, yeah. In your generalization, and that's you.
That all the time. For sure.
There's only one. Yeah. But you have to be self-aware to know, like, what is it about me that makes me think this way? What am I choosing to focus on? Right.
And I told him, too, I said, and which I think that is another problem in our culture, how I feel like we're making the problem worse. Like if he really feels like, and I told him that, I'm like, if you really feel like this is an issue, like this is a epidemic, right? Where women are just not, they're not comfortable in their natural state. That's how he feels. He just doesn't feel that most women are comfortable waking up and feeling beautiful. They have to put on their wig. They have to put on their lashes. They have to put on these certain type of clothing. That's what makes them feel confident. He feels like it's less women that feel confident without any of that stuff. And so I told him, that's a valid point. But I said, instead of being the person that talks about the women wearing wigs, be the person that glorifies the women who don't. You understand the difference? So Absolutely. I don't want a podcast about women who wear wigs. I'd rather have a podcast about that fro. Let's talk about this fro that I love. If that's what I want, to see more women do, let me glorify that. Let's stop Absolutely. Talking down on what we don't want. Instead, let's glorify what we do want, what we do feel like our preferences
Absolutely.
are. Because
I
it's
absolutely agree. It really is, because I'm so sick and tired of the debates and everything about, well, women do this and men do this.
It's
honestly, it's played out, but I get it. It's clickbait. It's what gets people going with their emotions. But the thing is, it's like Nell said, you got to glorify what you want to see.
What is you want to see? Yeah, like
it's if natural beauty is your thing and that's what you want to see.
You should be reposting that. You don't ever like a picture with a wig. Then don't ever repost a woman that got a wig on.
Right. And my thing is this: like I said, as a man, what business is it of mine?
I guess if that's just your passion, if that's something that you are interested in, if that's if you want to bring change to the world, I'm not gonna say
here's my
you know what
thing.
I mean?
Here's my thing, and I gotta be all the way 100 with it. You really have to deeply care.
Yeah.
Because it's more than just talking about it.
Right. Exactly.
Because if you're not complimenting a woman when you see her natural beauty, you a little BS to me.
Right. If you like the natural bodies, why are you only hollering at the BBLs, dear?
Because here's my thing too. If you only talk about natural beauty when that camera is on,
right,
or if you only talk about natural beauty to people, but I don't see you compliment a woman on her natural beauty,
right? If it's always a comparison,
right?
Like, why do we have to compare natural beauty to women that wear wigs? Why can't we just talk about natural beauty?
Because my thing is, why are you so offended by it?
Yeah.
What you so upset for? Because that's all I see, and they glorify. No.
That's all you choose to see.
That's all you choose to see.
Yep.
And if you are so bothered by it,
yeah,
then when you see a woman in her natural element,
right,
compliment her on it. If you're not talking and uplifting a woman who's natural,
right, it's counterproductive. It doesn't make sense to do anything at all.
You're a little bogus to me.
Yeah, for sure.
But you only triggered by what you choose to see.
Yeah.
Which says, honestly, more about you than...
Yeah.
Because maybe you don't like yourself. Maybe.
Yeah.
More
I don't know.
likely.
I think it's a good... I'm one of those people where I could not agree and still value the perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think me and my daughter's dad don't agree a lot, but I value his perspective a lot because I know he's a very intelligent man and he has...
Absolutely.
He does his research and he does, like a lot of the stuff that I do, I learn from him. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I thought it was a dope perspective. It made me want to think like, okay, let me make sure I'm good when I take this wig off. And I think that's dope to bring that up because you might be talking to a woman that is insecure about herself because like, we're not going to sit here and act like this isn't a thing. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing
I just don't see the point of it always being the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Just like, when we first started the podcast and the Love and Energy episode where I said, I'm tired of the conversation about, well, men don't do this and they're not getting flowers. Chivalry is dead. I'm tired of that conversation. I'm tired of the conversation where we're always talking down on what we don't want. Let's talk up about what we actually want. Yeah. Change the conversation completely. Stop talking about what is out there. Like my brother sent me a clip of a woman going off. Like it was like a 2-minute clip of her going off about podcasters. All black people talk about his relationships. I said, sweetie, that is not true. There are black podcasts out there all over that talk nothing about relationships.
Right.
But you're the only one watching it. So that's why you're talking about it. And really you're not doing anything but continuously talking about relationships. You're being counterproductive to what you want. You should be talking about whatever, space and aliens and whatever the heck you want to talk about.
Space and aliens.
You know what I mean? Like, there are people that are really fascinated with that, the universe and all of these things. You know what I mean? So, okay, you should be listening to those podcasts. You should be talking about those podcasts. Don't be the person that always talking down on a subject instead of being the person that's talking about an actual subject of what you think is substance. Focus on what your substance is. Focus on what you feel like there should be topics about. Let's stop having topics about other people's topics. What is the point of that? You know what I mean? So I guess that's just what I wanted to get out of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got.
Great convo. Great subject.
It was. I love
Intuition versus insecurities. I love it.
Geez.
This next segment is called "Did That Really Happen?" This isn't really a funny one. I just want to briefly touch on this.
Okay.
Because I think it has affected, which is a interesting word. I think a lot of people are affected by it. I was just curious about it, so I want to talk about the situation, not the people.
Yeah.
B. Simone, Megan Ashley, their podcast ended, and it's more than just the podcast; it's the friendship that ended.
That hurt me deeply.
I think, from what I read, they've been friends for 20 years.
20 years.
And more than the situation, more than them, I don't want to talk about them. I want to talk about what it's like, just very briefly.
Yeah.
I want to talk about when you have outgrown a thing.
Yeah.
Or outgrown a person.
Yeah.
And when it's time to make that sacrifice and move on.
Yeah.
Because I think I've been in that situation. I think so.
On whose end?
I think Megan outgrew B. Simone.
Me too.
I think when you are on a spiritual journey and God is really dealing with you.
Yeah.
And you are really intentional about growing in Him, with Him.
Yeah.
Oftentimes you realize that certain things, in order to get to that place of being healthy and being really on one accord with what the Lord wants for you, some people can't go.
They gotta go.
And it's not really a them thing. It's I really want to get here and you are on your journey. But we can't do this journey thing together because you're choosing to stay here.
Yeah.
And I'm choosing to move forward.
Yeah.
And I think, and I've been in that situation before, which is why I wanted to talk about it, because, and I'm pretty sure there's way more that has happened with them.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly praying for them, because for 20 years of friendship to just end, that tells me there was a lot of underlining things that wasn't necessarily covered.
Yeah.
Or it got so bad, there was no reconciling. Right now, I'm not saying it won't happen a long time from now.
Yeah.
But I think it's important for us to really focus on when it's that time. And it's really hard and it really hurts, speaking from experience, when you've been friends with this person, y'all been down for each other, and y'all have reached a certain point in the friendship, and now it's time to part ways.
No more up. There's no more up we can go.
And you kind of just like, you've reached that peak, and now it's just like this.
Yep.
And because it's like this, there comes a point.
It's going to affect you and your growth.
It's going to come a point where it starts to go like this. And if you're not aware of yourself and what you really want in life, you will be mad at yourself so much. You will be mad at the other person. Mm-hmm. And it's like, we can't be in covenant no more.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to keep growing. Yep. This ain't the peak for me, and I know it.
Yeah.
And if this is it for you, cool.
Yeah.
I'm not judging you. I love you. For me, it's just I gotta keep going.
Yeah.
And so it broke my heart, because it's an unfortunate situation that I've been in, and I know how much it hurts when people hold you hostage to who you are.
Yeah.
And you're trying to not be that anymore.
Right.
So,
yes, I mean, everything you said, like when I saw that, man, I really, it was a great podcast, man. Like it was just one of those podcasts that you really just saw two friends having a conversation. Like that's really just what it was. Two best friends having a conversation. They didn't always agree. They always talked about like growing together and like being a better person. And, you know, it just seemed like they were going in the right direction. It is kind of like, it's they probably were going in the right direction when you think about it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
They just didn't know that the direction was
absolutely
not being in fellowship anymore.
And honestly,
which is crazy.
You have to love yourself enough when you're like, listen, I love you. I want the best for you. But I love me too.
Yeah.
And I want the best for me. Yeah. And I'm trying to go here, you're trying to go there. And we just splitting in paths. And you know what? That's okay.
Do you think Megan and B. Simone's situation had to do with them being in business together? Because a lot of people are coming down to that conclusion. Don't get in business with your friends. I don't think that's what it was.
No, it's something deeper than that.
Yeah, I think it was something deeper.
It's something deeper. And the thing is, I hope there comes a time when they can reconcile.
Yeah.
I think this moment is going to reveal some things to themselves about themselves, and they will grow, and there will come a point where their friendship will come back. Yeah. And it'll be a beautiful thing.
It seems so meant. You know what I'm saying? Them two.
Yeah. And honestly, they built something that will last forever.
Yeah.
It changed the hearts and lives of so many people, and they were effective. That's the beautiful thing about it.
They were.
It was a genuine thing. And I think there were some underlining things, some deep things personally that they probably ignored for a long time.
Yeah.
And it just came to a head. Yeah. And sometimes a thing can get so bad. Just right now, we can't. Yeah. We can't work on this right now. Like we've tried. There's too much pain right now. Yeah. And we need to separate to heal. And if the Lord allows, we'll come back. Yeah. And we'll work on it. I really, as individuals and for them both. Yeah. I really want them to heal. Yeah. I want the best for them. Yeah. I'm praying for them. Yeah. And yeah, I want.
That's very deep.
It's really deep. 20 years of friendship to just end. Yeah. It don't just end like that. Yeah. There's been things probably going on where it's just trickled down to this. Yeah. And so, yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to B. Simone and Megan. Yeah, already got her another podcast, and I'm proud of her for her to come from the back end to the front end now. She's super dope. Honestly, nothing against B. Simone at all, but Megan was my all-time favorite on the show. She was so dope. She taught me a lot. Her insight is everything. So I'll definitely be tuning into her new podcast. But I am hoping, I have my definitely high hopes to see them two together again, because I do think God's hands was on that friendship, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be exactly what you think it's going to look like. So, you know, I just have faith that it's going to turn out exactly how it's supposed to, and they're going to be all right. But yeah, it did break my heart. I'm not going to lie. I had to take a break from listening to it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm behind on episodes, and I can't even watch an episode now because I'm so heartbroken. That's so heartbroken. I really am heartbroken off of this. But, yeah. So hope for the best for them, and that, you know, God does what he needs to do in your hearts, your minds. Yeah. And y'all don't know us, but we love y'all. Yes. So it's all good. Self-aware. All good. Insecurities. Thank you for tuning into this episode. We love y'all. Subscribe to the Patreon and YouTube. All them things. We not, but for real. We out. Peace.
Nah, but for real. Tell me